Well, hey everybody, welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby, and joining me today we have a very special in-studio guest. And by very special, I mean not really.
Not so much.
No. We have a great photographer, an excellent portrait photographer, a really great, not just user of light, but teacher of light. Michael Corsentino is here, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Scott. Good
This
to
is
be here
not
again.
your first time.
No, definitely not. I'm a repeater.
You are a repeater, and you were here for Blind Critiques last time, weren't you?
Yeah. We had a blast.
And then, as it turned out, it was Blind Critique Week again, and here you are.
Here I am.
And so we're going to go right into them. I just want to tell you a couple things before we start. We got books to give away. We got some books to give away. We're going to give away a copy today of my book, The Best of the Digital Photography Book Series. So I went back to, the other camera's on. Hi. I went back to all 5 of my digital photography books, parts 1 through 5, handpicked, cherry-picked the very best stuff, put it into here, updated with all the latest information, and we're going to give away one of those today. We're also going to give away an amazing book. This is Jay Mazel's Light, Gesture, and Color. Let's get it outside of the mic stand. There it is. Light, Gesture, and Color, and just an incredible book. So we're going to be giving away both of those to some two lucky people each get one book, Anyway, so we asked our viewers to do the same thing that we always do at Blind Critiques. We asked people to send in a link to their images. We gathered a bunch of them. We're going to go through them here today. We don't mention anybody's names that we are critiquing because number one, we don't want to embarrass anybody, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because we're going to really try to be as truthful as we can.
Right.
But we're not doing it just to say, it's finally somebody told you the truth. We're going to try to help. We're trying to give you advice that will make your images better, what you can do next time. And if your images are really great, then we'll say that as well. So we're going to start off, just zoom right into it.
Dig right in.
We're going to go in. This is our first photographer. We don't know who it is, but we know here are the images. I'm just going to flip through them real quick, Michael. And,
okay, good.
And we'll see what we think here. All right, looks like a little studio stuff, a little outdoor. So, Michael?
Well, they're all part of a set. So I think rather than talking about each one individually, they all sort of have some of the same issues going on for me, from my perspective.
Uh-oh, they have issues.
They have issues. I would say that the light is flat, which I think to me is objectionable. I think that they would be more interesting with a more directional light, with more angle to the light, which is going to create more shadow. Since they are dramatic pictures, that seems to be what is trying to be said with these pictures, is drama and action and excitement. So, shadow is going to give you more of that. So I would say, move away from the flat lighting. Compositionally, they're also not as strong as they could be. This one, for example, the one that's on screen now, there's a lot of headspace that's not being used, and compositionally, it's not that strong.
Her arms cut off.
Right, the guy's leg is cut off. I'm not really sure what's happening with his other arm behind his jacket. It's a little tilted.
It looks very posed and still.
Right.
It doesn't look like an action shot. It looks like, all right, hold your leg up here, all rusted on my arm. Ready? All right, go ahead. Did you get the shot? Okay. Right. It doesn't have any kind of feeling of motion or...
Right.
But I think the lighting is the issue here.
Right. I agree. I think the lighting is it could be a lot better. It could be a lot stronger for what you're trying to do here. The one thing that I will say, and we were talking about this off air before, was there's, what we always talk about and what sort of differentiates images from snapshots, pictures from snapshots, is rather than taking an image, making an image. And I can see here that the person who did these, had some thought behind them, and they wanted to make an image, which I applaud, which I think is great.
Yeah, they just didn't pick up a camera and just shoot
right,
what was
exactly.
there.
There was thought behind this, but I think that it falls down in some of those areas, like wardrobe, for example. There's not a lot of contrast in the wardrobe. It all kind of blends together. And the other things that we talked about before, the lighting and composition and those sorts of things. So those are areas I would work on.
Yeah, this one looks like it's outdoors, and they're using some kind of flash, and you can see the the shadow going across his head. I really think I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. The light is really an issue here, and so let's go back to this one right here. Let me ask you a question. If you went to Home Depot and you bought one of those battery-powered lights,
the deer light.
Yeah, and you just aimed it at them, would it look any different than this? And I don't think that's what you used. I think you probably used some decent lighting, but it just looks so flat, and it doesn't look like professional lighting in any of these. It just looks like you have lights turned on, but there's no depth and there's no dimension and stuff.
Right.
And I agree. I wasn't thinking about this until the moment you said it, but their costumes are so close in color that it all just kind of blends together.
Right. Even the guy, he's wearing gray pants and a black jacket, and even just him alone, it all just kind of blends together. Can we talk about the lighting for a minute and how to improve it?
Oh, yeah, please.
So here's the deal with light. I mean, you're photographing everything pretty much on camera access, and that's why your lighting is flat. So simply by just moving the light either to the left or to the right of that 12 o'clock mark of your subject, like picture a big circle around your subject, just move it off axis, give it direction, give it angle to your subject, relative to your subject, and you're going to introduce shadow. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, if you just put a light at a 45-degree angle to where that guy's standing, the light would have a lot more interest and depth. And that's the problem, is when he's talking about flat lighting, you don't see any depth. Shadows are a good thing in photos, except for the one that's running right across his forehead. It's just really, really bad placement on the photos. But can I tell you the last thing? Because let's say that you had great lighting here, and let's say that they had contrasting colors. This is still a bad photo, because the guy is giving you absolutely nothing.
Right.
There's no great expression. It doesn't look realistic. He's not giving you. And Peter Hurley would just have a field day with this, because that's what Peter says a lot of times, is he's giving you nothing. He's giving you nothing here.
Right.
She's not giving you anything either. This doesn't look like a real fight scene, and it's
right.
Like throughout these, there's a problem with the subjects that you're not getting anything out of them. So now, I do go back to what you said. I applaud this photographer, because they're trying, they didn't just kind of walk up on this, right? They're trying to do something. And so if you could just add those few things, remember, their expressions really matter. It's hugely important. The lighting needs to be directional, and have them wear some contrasting colors. And then, of course, there's some compositional things you could do that would help too. But I don't think composition is your biggest problem. I think fix the other three first and then work on that.
Exactly.
So that'll just get us started anyway. Didn't start off in an awesome, unfortunately, in a very awesome way. But let me go ahead and do this. I wish I hadn't done that. I'm going to have to open these in Camera Raw. All right, so we'll look at these real quickly. These look like they were all shot on the same trip. But can I tell you something? I like them.
I agree. I think they're strong compositionally. They're pretty pictures.
Yeah, they're interesting.
They have nice colors. They definitely hang together as a group.
Yeah, they're not over-processed, which is people tend to do with this kind of shot. I think they're pretty darn interesting. This would make a great series hanging on the wall, like all 5 of them in a row frame. Well, those 4. The 5th one kind of breaks the thing. And that's kind of a cool shot, too, that you see, 3 lightning strikes at once. Looks like they probably use trigger trap or something, right, to capture the lightning at the same time. But overall, I think pretty good stuff. And I really like the series of the first 4. They kind of have they look like a series. Especially that one. Yeah. That one and that one look like they're, it looks like you were on a trip in the Midwest, and you were in some band, like Oklahoma or someplace, or where else has crazy weather like that?
The Plains.
The Plains. Nobody knows what states those are. We don't know what states. So they were out in the Great Plains, and wow, there was that. But good job. I think this photographer's doing pretty good. I like the composition and all the other stuff too. So.
Yeah, well done.
Let's see how we doing on size here. Okay, here we go. Michael?
Yeah, these are somewhere between deliberate and snapshot. Some of them are more deliberate than others.
Yeah, this one looks deliberate.
Right.
I was trying to make a picture.
Right. And I like what's going on compositionally there, the leading lines and, the centered walkway and the burst of sun in the background, and the black and white process is nicely executed.
Yeah, it's a pretty
I think it's,
shot.
Fairly, it's working.
Best of the bunch for sure.
Right. This one doesn't really do much for me.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know where to look. It's got a nice sky, but all this stuff is kind of funky.
The one thing you want to be really careful of with hot spots and in general, that sun, just like the one before, is, and anyone will tell you this, that your eye automatically goes to the brightest part of the image. So you really want to make sure that that's what you want to have happen. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. For me here, it's not really working.
I have a different issue, which is you've overprocessed some of this stuff to death.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like when you're a guitar player, you have an amp, and if you play too loud, everybody else in the band looks at you like, "Hey, dude, your amp's too high. You need to crank that. You're at 10 or 11. You need to go back. Well, no, you're not at 10. You're probably at 8, but you should be at 5. It's just a little bit like too much post here, a lot of post. It's not. This isn't like a bad kind of HDR, but it's on the verge. Like you're gone as far as you can go before it really turns hasty.
Right.
And you've got to just start to get little glows around stuff. It's like, and
high pass.
It's just a little too much. And so here's the thing. And this one, I don't know. But look, and this, by the way, this junk creeping in from the top, that's killing. It's not a great shot to begin with, unfortunately, but this is killing it. Why would you leave those in there? Because you're photoshopping this to death. Why did you stop? I can't leave those in there. It would be wrong. That's needed to be the first thing that you did. By the way, they have glows around them, and that's not really a good thing to have. If you're going to have distracting branches sneaking into the edges of your image, you're responsible for every inch of this photo.
Right.
When you may be looking at the two canoers, and you know what, by the way, if you could make this a lot better just by cropping it. This ugly stick here in the front's not helping you either. Now, I don't know what a better crop would be. I hate to lose the foreground, but that's not much. Well, it's a tad more interesting. This is just such a mess here, because if I were to ask you, what was your picture about? I think that you would say the two canoers.
Right. And even if you took the canoers and waited for them and moved them to the lower left-hand corner,
so they're not in
it
front
would
of
have
this.
been a much stronger image compositionally because everything's leading you to that corner. The way that water is going is all going right to that corner. So
there's some photographically things you could have taken advantage of, but I think what'll help your photography the most is to lay off the post-processing.
Right. Let me just add something about the post-processing. Here's the thing about post-processing, the way that I like to think about it is that post-processing effects should support the image. They shouldn't intrude on it. No one should look at your image and say, "Oh, that's such and such effect." They should look at the image and they should say, "Oh, that's two canoers."
That's HDR.
Right. Exactly. So once they start to get in the way, that's problematic.
And you know what's really bad? And I'll just point this out. So look behind your trees, and then look over here. It's all dark, but it's white behind your trees. There's a white glow all the way around your trees. There's a white glow all the way over here and up there.
Right. It looks like bad burning.
Yeah, it's just woo. So anyway, you're capable of making a very good shot. So, that's good. That's a good thing. It's not like, there's no hope. There's plenty of hope. And you process this nicely. It's just you got a little carried away on some of the other ones and like this one and stuff. And so, but anyway, so you're not out of the game. All right. I think these were small I saw earlier. Let's get them bigger. Okay. Let me back that off a bit. All right. That's a cute dog with a leash. That's a leash, right?
Yeah.
And that's cute.
So yeah, these again, they fall into the snapshot category in my mind. They're pretty pictures of your pet, and they have meaning. It has meaning to you.
It looks like a nice vacation photos.
Right. But they don't really seem like deliberately thought out pictures. This first one also seems like it's a bit too HDR to me. It
might be a little bit crunchy. Yeah.
Right.
So you know what it is? This looks like a good photographer on vacation.
Right.
It doesn't look like I'm trying to make photos. It was like, and then we met this dog at the end. This dog was so cute. I had him sit on a log, and then the dog came with us, and there we are in the car. There's my flashing gear and stuff. And then we were walking downtown, and we saw this kid. He made the funniest face. And then this is the woman that runs the bed and breakfast that we were staying in, and there's another dog we saw.
Right. I mean, I think that one, the one of the woman that is the strongest of the bunch in
Yep.
terms of execution, the lighting. There's some shadow.
Yeah,
the composition.
It's a little hard edge though. This looks like it was lit. You need to get
Right.
a little, maybe a bigger softbox. Cause I'm look at the edges right here.
Or move it closer.
Yeah, move it closer in and get, but she's got a nice, she's got a nice smile and she looks like a nice person.
Right.
But so you look like a photographer. You look like a photographer on vacation. Like there's no portfolio shots here.
Right.
But this is all you gave us to judge your work. So it looks like you're using a shallow depth of field with a 50mm lens. And that's not a bad thing, but I think that shooting some more interest, I mean, this is just, it's a kind of nice vacation photos, like nicer than your average person's vacation photos.
Right.
That's probably not what you're shooting for. So I think I mean, it's a nice dog shot. If that was my dog, if that was Maggie the Wonder Dog, I would like that. Right? I would go, oh, Maggie's on a log. Why is the dog on a log? That's like dog with a blog. That's the weirdest thing. Disney show. I don't know. And then the dog's in the car. I mean, none of these are bad. There's not a single bad shot here. And the dog one here is on the border of a good shot. But again, it's like, these look like a photographer's vacation photos, not a photographer's photos.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
So let's see what we got here. Oops, I'm going to have to open them in camera raw to give some size. I got to tell you, that's a pretty cool shot.
Yeah, it's really nice.
That's a cool place. I like that.
Does that one border on too processed for you? The last one?
That one?
A tad.
You know what? It is. This is a fully processed shot. I'm okay with it. Personally, you know what I would have done? So, and I will do this from time to time. The place where you get caught with too much post-processing is the sky.
Right.
That's the place where if you're going to push it, if you would have done the same thing but 50% as much on the sky, I think you'd have gotten away with it.
Right, agreed. And maybe brighten the boats up a little bit.
It looks on the boats. It looks good on the boats. I like that the boats are out of the water. I think this is an interesting shot. It's probably just a little bit too much post. It's not as much post as the other guy or woman.
Right.
But this is, I like this shot. Yeah, I would like it better if it wasn't so crunchy.
That's another nice landscape.
So you know what I would say? And this is not going to sound like a compliment, but it is. You're a good landscape or travel photographer. I don't think people are necessarily your thing. Your landscape stuff looks like a level up, and your people stuff looks like a level down. That's well composed,
Right.
long exposure. It looks good. I mean, I'd like to see the sky a little darker. But
A little more contrast in there. That kind of got blown out on the right side. But yeah, that's really strong.
yeah, and then the next shot, I like the composition. I like all this stuff, and it gets here. She's giving you nothing.
Right.
I mean, you're using like what, an 85 1.4 or something, or a 50mm 1.4. So you're blurring the background, and that looks nice. But I mean, all it takes is a lens, and then just move the knob. A portrait is a lot more than that.
Right.
And so what you've done is you put a 50 on, used a shallow depth of field.
Right.
And here it's kind of the same thing.
And all of those choices are, they're all choices that you make, and you have to ask yourself why. Like, you have a whole range of f-stops, and sometimes with an environmental portrait, the background is important. You don't necessarily want to blur it out every single time. Sometimes you do, but sometimes it's an important part of the story.
Yeah, I don't know what you were saying in front of here, but the problem isn't that you blurred it. The problem is she's giving you nothing. She's not really engaged with
There's
the
no
camera.
connection,
She's not
right.
engaged with you. There's no connection with the viewer. There's just, now what you're thinking is, well, look, it's got nice backlighting from the sun, and I brought a little flash in, and the flash is soft. This is the first person today with soft light. So it's a little bluish on her skin. I know it depends on my screen. It looks a little bluish. I think I would have to add a little more, make her look a little healthier. But, and then this one, I like the blown out look. I like all the lens flare and stuff. there's nothing going on here.
Right.
It's just, I don't get any connection between them and there's just it's just nothing going on.
Compositionally, also the
Yeah.
fact that they're like so dead center, I don't think is helping matters.
Yeah, and if they are boyfriend and girlfriend or even brother and sister, I would want some connection between them.
Plus, it looks weird. It looks like it should have been a vertical, but it ended up in this horizontal. Like all of a sudden, they're kind of truncated.
And this one, this is a really nicely nicely lit awkward shot. It's just his expression is just
Yeah, Chandler smile.
yeah, and his eyes are too open, but it's nicely lit. I mean, as far as like I like your lighting,
Yeah.
but while you have lighting down, I think you need to. What I would do is really start looking at the expressions and poses. Like this is a very stiff looking. He looks like this. Like it's very, very stiff and proper looking. It doesn't look, lighting's nice. I would like to see this a little brighter over here, but I mean, that's just nitpicking. This is nice and soft. You're the first photographer of the day that has given it. And look, I think you're using quite a large softbox because you can see in his eyes.
I could nitpick it a little that I'd like to see that softbox a little higher. I'd like to see that catch light a little higher in the eye.
Eh. But you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to, that wouldn't be
That's
on my
quibble.
list. But I like the way you cropped it. You got a nice, good crop of the head. It's just an awkward pose. It's just, he looks very stiff and awkward and his eyes are too big. But it's well executed lighting wise. And I think that this one actually is well executed for an outdoor shot lighting wise as well. Put a gel on that light so you don't have to fix it in post. Just put a nice like quarter cut of CTO or something on there.
Right.
Make it a little yeller.
And if you are going to, photograph people, it's all about eliciting that communication, that response, that interaction. Peter is amazing at that, so definitely check out, Peter's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But you really have to have a connection with your subject, and work to get those expressions and that connection and that engagement with the camera.
Yeah, but your landscape stuff is really strong. It's all good. Looks like Hawaii or something. No, it is the Faroe Islands. That's the volcano crater landscape dramatic. There's all your keywords. Anyway, not bad. Let's just go, cancel all changes. Okay, let's look at another one, then we'll take a break here. We're getting through these pretty good today.
Yeah?
Oh, all right.
Stop the presses.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been looking for you.
Nice.
Oh, this is really nice. This must be like Iceland or something, right? Where crazy landscapes happen. This is beautiful. Look at that one tree on the island over there. Nice long exposure. This is beautiful stuff. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's like really something. Yeah, these are great. What a great photographer.
Yeah, these
I
are
love
nice.
the locations. I love it. If
Compositions,
I had to guess,
everything.
it's either like, Iceland or Norway or Cincinnati. Could be.
Certain
This
neighborhoods,
looks, wait, this one looks very Cincinnati right here.
That's really pretty. Look
And
at
this,
that.
I think, is Cleveland. Cincinnati? Cleveland. I'm not sure.
Detroit?
Anyway, but just great stuff. I don't know what to tell you, but man, just keep doing what you're doing. This looks great. I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything really compositionally or otherwise that doesn't look, you really got the lighting thing down. Like you're shooting at the right time of day. You're using long exposures when they're appropriate. Any other?
Yeah, no,
comments?
that's it. That's spot on. Good, well done.
Yay!
Well executed.
High five. All right, we're gonna take a short break because I think we just should. Hey, I do want to mention we are working on a book right now with Corey Barker, who is like super genius Photoshop guy. It's going to be due out this year, and it's actually called now. There's an official name, but there's a subtitle. I'm going to go with the subtitle. The subtitle is the Kick-Ass Photoshop book.
I like it.
I know.
It's got a
And
ring
I
to
think
it.
we're going to put like an A, like the @ sign and a $ sign or something, so you don't really say the naughty word like I just did. But anyway, but it's the Photoshop book. And so what he did is he went through the whole book, and like it's just recipes. It's like, want to learn this cool effect? Here's how it's done. It's short, it's sweet. It's not big long projects. It's really cool short stuff. Anyway, so that's coming out. If you go, he's got a bunch of classes on Kelby One. Go to kelby1.com, and if you check out some of Corey's classes, it will make you want to buy the book. Also, you can follow him on Facebook at facebook.com/Corey Barker, and he's always sharing stuff there. It's just Corey. It's facebook.com/Corey.Barker. Apparently, it's a popular name. And on Twitter, he's Corey PS3D, because he's a master of 3D and Photoshop. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're looking at more images.
Yay.
Michael is here, and I think he's going to get a little bit crankier when we come back from the break, because I can just tell I'm feeling the heat.
Oh, yeah.
See you guys in just a minute. It's going to get ugly. Hi, everybody. Scott Kelby here, and I want to invite you to watch my brand new class. It's called Creating Beautiful Wedding Albums in Lightroom. I'm going to show you the whole process from start to finish, but I think what makes this class really valuable for wedding photographers is the design part. It's the beautiful part. It's making the album look great. Having your bride and groom just open it and just go, wow. That's what this class is all about. You're going to learn lots of design tips, layout tips, and it's all right in Lightroom ready for you to do. The class is right here exclusively at Kelby One.
Hey, John McQuiston here with a new class on KelbyOne.com on the Sony a7R Mark II and a7S Mark II cameras. From the giant 42 megapixel still photos in the a7R and spectacular 4K video both the a7R and a7S shoot, learn the basics of how to get the most of these cameras' incredible features with a down and dirty class so you can get out the door and get shooting. Again, only on KelbyOne.com.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with our in-studio guest. Well, of course he's an in-studio guest.
right.
They would just be empty if he wasn't. Michael Corsentino. And you did a class that goes live tomorrow.
This is true.
So tomorrow on Kelby One, your class goes live. Tell me about your class real quick.
My class is all about the Canon speedlight system, the 600 EXRT, their new flagship speedlight.
Yeah, with the radio
Exactly, with the built-in
It's not
radio,
line
which
of
is
sight.
one of the first in the speedlight world,
Yeah.
which allows you to do all sorts of neat and cool stuff. So we'll walk you through every way to use it and kind of demystify all of it and make it easy. I know people get intimidated by light. We'll talk about light as well, do a little shooting in the studio, and kind of get you up to speed.
Now, I haven't... Speedlight. I see what you did there.
Oh,
I haven't seen the class yet, but when you taped it, I like the crew will usually tell me, like the video crew will come and say, hey, we had a really good shooter. They'll come back and say, didn't go well. No,
That was what they said to me, right?
No, they said the class went great. I'm excited to see it. So anyway, that goes live tomorrow, and if you're a Kelby One member, go watch it. If you're not, you can still go watch it. Just take the 10-day free trial and you can watch it. All right, let's look at some images.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Michael?
Well, again, it was sort of a mixture, a mixed bag. You've got snapshots and you've got some redeeming shots. Not that your snapshots are not awesome and amazing, but we're trying to talk about stepping up your game. So for me, this one hits the mark in that respect more than the others. Compositionally, I think it's interesting. There are things that I think could be a little bit better. I think he could be a little shifted up a little higher in the frame. It's a little low to the chin, which can be a little uncomfortable visually. But I like the black and white.
Yeah, there was room to take some off the top.
Right. I like the black and white treatment.
Yep.
I like the expression. I like that it's kind of a thoughtful moment. I think it's the strongest of the bunch. It could be stronger in ways. It could be a supporting image, part of a portfolio of images of this child. But I think it rises above just this is a picture of my child. I think it's got appeal visually as an image aside from it being your child.
This is a snapshot. This is one you took with your phone, right?
Right.
Yeah, this just looks like, it was late in the day and I pulled up my phone and I took a shot.
Same thing here. The exposure is not helping matters at all. It's gone. I mean, all that is black. It just looks like a black and white bar, essentially, a black and yellow bar. So I don't think that that's helping you. It's underexposed. Maybe your sensor got tripped up by what was going on in the scene, but I don't think that's helping. A nice portrait, kind of a quiet portrait. Again, I think compositionally could be stronger, and that there's not really that much going on in the way of this portrait informing us about this person or what's really happening with her.
Yeah, you know what it tells us about her? She plays guitar.
Right.
But it doesn't really, you can't see her eyes. There's no real expression. I think she's playing looks like a D chord.
Right.
Now an A minor. That's an A minor. Sorry, she's playing an A minor, so she knows her minor chords. That's really all it tells you.
Now, that said, if we knew this person and this was Sheryl Crow, it would be a fine album cover. You could put the text up on the right-hand corner and you'd be good to go. But since this is not a known person,
It doesn't.
right.
Yeah, we don't know her any better than we did before we look at the picture. Post-processing's not bad. It's just, you know what it is? It's just kind of a picture of a person. And they're holding a guitar and they're playing an A minor.
I like the post-processing. It's kind of an old-timey, soft, vintagey feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a big fan of white vignettes.
Vignette. It's instant death.
Yeah.
Don't ever.
Right.
They should disable white vignette ability. It's instant death for a photograph.
Yeah.
It's
the kiss of
like selective color.
Right.
It's when you're actually trying to do it. It's
Don't.
Yeah, don't. Just please. And we're back to him, and he's a great little kid.
He's upset about the white vignette, actually.
So what can we tell this photographer to do to make better shots?
Do more of what you did in that first shot,
Yeah.
you know?
Strong composition. You're got an interesting subject. He's giving you a little something.
Right.
He's not lighting you on fire, but he's giving you a little something.
Right.
But you know what it is too? It's kind of cheating. It's a really cute kid. It's just
true.
a really
Yeah.
cute kid, and so it's like shooting puppies and shooting kids, not shooting, but taking photographs of puppies and kids. You kind of get a free pass because they're so cute that
Right.
that it's hard to focus on the actual photography. But I will say the lighting is soft. I like the way he's kind of but I'd rather him connect more with the viewer, he's kind of looking off the frame. But go look at sunset shots on 500px, and you'll go, oh yeah, that just looks like a vacation shot. You're trying for something that looks like a photographer,
Right.
So that's kind of something. Next, let's see what we have here.
Scott and I were talking about this before, and it's just, it really, you look at as many photographers as you can. Really educate your eye. That's what it's all about, being able to think visually and to see visually, and that's going to help you tremendously. A lot of people don't look at other work, and, Google is an amazing resource. Just, look at images.
If you were looking for the image that would win the award for most obviously composited, I think we found our winner. Wow. I don't know what to say here. Matt Kloskowski wrote a book on how to composite images
A really
and make
good
them
book,
look real.
yeah.
It's a very good book. I think it's called Photo Compositing Secrets. I highly recommend you go get that book. This looks, you put the shadows under the wheels, but there's no way that bike was shot under that sky. It's just,
Right.
it looks very, very obvious. It's too close to the frame. You could have scaled it down and that would have helped, but you need to take more steps. You did the basic step, which is add shadows, but there's no shadows really. Also, there's no real shadows under the bike.
Right.
It's pretty much just the tires.
Look at Joel Grimes also, another
Joel
compositing
Grimes.
master.
Yeah. Now, Joel Grimes has classes on Kelby One that you can watch that are just tremendous. But I would stay away from compositing if I were you for a while. And I'm thinking this was composited as well.
Right.
This isn't as bad, but it's
It's an interesting cross section. It's kind of a hodgepodge of.
yeah. So if I hired you, which photographer do I get? Bad compositing guy? Kit Kat? I'm not sure where that is. Or this.
Architectural photographer.
That looks like the. I'm not probably not, but it looks like the San Diego Convention Center or something. And this is. I don't know. I'm not even sure what to tell you except for stop compositing. No, don't stop compositing. I'm being flippant when I say that. You need to work on your compositing. You probably like it because you're doing it here. That's a composited shot. This is a composited shot. So I think you'd like it. If you like it, it's worth doing right. You need to watch some classes on compositing. You got the selection part down. It's fairly well selected, but the light and the angle, and there's just all kinds of crazy stuff that look weird here. Part of it is the angle too, is just The perspective is wrong. There's all kinds
Right.
of stuff. So
Also, the
now-
fact that the bike is just alone in the middle of the road. There's no person. Like, what is this bike doing in the
Yeah,
middle of the
and
road?
how is it staying up?
Right.
There's all kinds of issues here. But this one, the concept here could probably use some work, but at least you pulled it off.
Right.
Like lighting wise, you pulled it off.
Yeah, but compositionally, I think it could use a lot of work. I think the lighting is good, although I for this subject matter, I probably would have a little bit more direction. Again, we come back to that direction.
Yeah.
Maybe she's angled a little differently. Maybe she's less camera aware. There's a whole range of different possibilities. One thing you can do is you can put your lights behind your smoke, your fog, and that's always kind of an interesting effect. I just think compositionally, it's not really working the best that it could.
So you know why this is hard is because you are a somewhat accomplished photographer. You're not like you're not taking snapshots. I would stay away from this type of stuff. I mean, it's okay, but that's not where you're at. It looks like you want to be somewhere in here.
Right.
All right. So forget this and forget that. Those are just Instagram, whatever. But you want to be somewhere in here, and you're not that far away from it. You're not out of the game or like, no, there's no way. But I think you need to do what you were just talking about. You need to look at some of the work of people that are doing things like this and really study and break down what they're doing, because you're not that far away, but you're really not close. It's like you're on the road, but you got a few more exits to go. You've got some lighting things that are okay here, and her retouching is really bad. The retouching here is just like,
Is it over the top? Really?
yeah, let's go. You can zoom in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at the retouching here.
Yeah.
She's made of plastic, which is,
Right.
it's not. It's some seriously
Right.
bad
You
retouching.
want pore structure always.
Yeah, that's right.
Scott, you have a wonderful book about retouching.
Yeah, for photography. I have a retouching book for photographers. I would give one away if I had one. I don't know where they're at. Wait, that's not it, is it? No. Sorry, I thought I saw a copy. No, all right. Okay, so we you know what it is? It's you need some work on your post. Work on your post, because I think a lot of your issues are there. It's your compositing, it's your retouching,
Composition.
it's your composition but the composition isn't the worst thing. But I'd fix the other stuff first. Right. But that's
And concepts. Think about your concepts.
Yeah.
Really flesh out your concepts, like what you're trying to accomplish and what kind of image you want to make.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, it's a nice shot. I like the beams of light coming in, and you got some crazy leading lines there. That's interesting. I like the post-processing, too. It's got like a nice cross-processing or split tone.
I'll tell you what I like about that image that I don't see enough people doing is the fact that you shot this low, that you didn't shoot this standing up like everybody else from your line of sight, which ends up just looking like an average photograph. So that's definitely a step in the right direction.
That's a nice, interesting shot. That's very nice.
Agreed.
Looks like
yeah.
outside the Blue Mosque or something in Turkey. Not as
That one's
interesting as
right,
the other ones.
exactly, less
It's not
successful.
bad. This one's interesting because it's an interesting locale, but it's not there's not a great time of day to shoot it.
And the post-processing doesn't live up to what the other ones are much
But
stronger.
this is really nice. That's
cool.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So you got some good stuff here. You got some really good stuff. I think this is just probably shouldn't have included that one.
Right. I'm going to
Your
say
other
this
stuff
one,
is that's really
this
good.
one and the other one from the mosque I think are the
That
strongest.
one's good, and that one's like. This one's on the verge of a little too much post on the
HDR.
Yeah, a little. But it's on the verge of it. It's not bad. It's just. I think you could, if you back this off 20%, I think you'd be fine. It's 25% on the post processing. I don't think you had to go quite as far as you did, but still, and good composition, good photographer.
Yeah.
Well done. Let's see where we're at. All right, here we go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
Okay. Oh boy.
well. This is sort of painful. It's just not working on all fronts. The lighting is super hard, and with a bride, you want the light to be soft and flattering
beautiful.
and beautiful. And this is not that. She looks like she's just kind of standing in the middle of nowhere. Like what is she doing there? What's going on? Where is she? There's no sense of the background. It's not a studio shot, but it's not a background. It's not an environmental portrait. She's lost. She's blending into the background. I would back to the drawing board on this one.
Yeah, it's
Compositionally,
look at the
too.
shadows under her nose. It's just and the direction of the light. It's
Right.
food. It's just there's not much going on there.
This is much stronger. I mean, if we were to look at one image to the next,
Yeah.
this is heads and shoulders above the last one. I'm not loving the black and white treatment. I think this would work well in black and white, but I think it's a little, it's maybe got too much yellow in it or something, or I'm not.
It looks like it's got like a blue, what do you call that? A something tone. I forget what it's called, but it's not a sepia
Like a
tone.
duotone?
It's the other thing. What's it called?
Sepia? Not sepia.
It's something bad.
Selenium?
Selenium. No, it's not. I forget what it is. It's bad.
It's a bad tone.
Peter, can I tell you
It's a
something?
bad tone.
People don't look good in blue. It's straight up. Blue is like the color. Like picture this: you're a guest on CSI, and they tell you you're going to die, and they take you to the morgue. What color do they make you?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is overly lit. You have to be really careful when you're doing blowaway backgrounds. And first of all, it's not even on the background. He's got, kind of nasty highlights on his, right. And he's got
Bright,
kind of
dark.
Right. So you want to make sure that they're even, and you don't want to overly light them. You can put too much light, and you can put your subject too close to the background, and then you get spill, which ends up causing a milky kind of look to your subject. And then he's got nasty highlights on his forehead. The expression isn't the best. He's kind of like, looks like he's sort of.
This is not going well. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening with the blurred out text on
Well,
the
he
shirt.
doesn't want you to see the person's
right.
name. Yeah.
But so change the shirt. Like,
Now
don't.
look at this nice shot.
That's sweet.
That's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And the post-processing there is appropriate.
Right. Much nicer conversion.
Yeah. Now, the grandfather is giving you all kinds of the baby. But, babies are they're like animals. It's really hard to
wrangle.
Oh, Kim got a book? Did you bring one of the books?
Oh, nice.
Oh, we'll give both of those away.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, so Kim's my editor, and she was apparently watching in her office instead of working. No, that's part of her job. So she brought us the portrait retouching book and
Excellent
Matt's compositing book, and we're going to give away both of those.
Sweet.
Now, Kim is very shy about coming on set, so we'll have to wait till like a break or something. She's like, yeah, we'll wait till a break. But we're going to give away those added to the two books that we're already going to give away because we have some folks. Actually, let's do this. Can we go back? We're gonna give both of those away, but we're gonna give a separate one away to the guy that needed the retouching help. Where was he? All right.
That's him.
This guy,
Yeah.
we're gonna send you Matt's compositing book. Right? We'll send you Matt's compositing book. Oh, look, Kim just snuck it in there. All right, so this is Matt's compositing, which is an excellent book, Photoshop Compositing Secrets, and he did a tremendous job on this book.
Another great book.
A lot of it is how to select hair and make tricky selections. But what he does that is so great, and what that person really need was, he does talk about perspective and things, but he really talked. Let me try to get it outside the mic stand. There's just there's no good place for it. What he really did that was great was he talks about how to make it look real by blending like the colors. So this way, that way, up. I don't know, Juan. I'm gonna hold it in the air. Can't hear me? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize there was a microphone necessary. He did a really great job in teaching you the things that other books don't. So we're gonna give a copy to this person that you saw earlier. And if you're wondering who that was. This person, and then we're going to give we'll give a copy of the portrait retouching one. We needed somebody else. We'll find out who that was, and then we'll give away another copy on the show here because obviously we're loose with money. Okay, let's go back to where we were. well. Oh, we didn't see that one yet. Hold on. Oh, yeah, so we're finishing with this one right here. The baby's not giving you a lot, but the grandfather's giving you a ton, and it's just a nice moment, and the post-processing's pretty good, and I don't even know what happened here.
Right.
Do I see a white vignette on that border? Do I see it, or is it just underlit in a really weird way? I think it's a white vignette, dude.
It could, yeah, it looks like there's a white vignette, and it also, again, it's suffering from that overly lit, perhaps the subject too close to the background, that washy, milky effect from having your lights, your subject and everything too close to the background.
And the subject's really not giving you a great pose. It looks very posed.
Right. And the post-processing is not, it's sort of a weird cross-process look that's not really helping.
I'm sorry. I feel bad because you got some work to do. You got a lot of work to do on lighting, I think, is a big one. And lighting and posing, mostly lighting. No, you're lighting and posing. So now what's bad is this isn't a beginner photographer. You can tell that they're a little further down the road. So I would be studying lighting.
Right.
The key word is soft lighting, and you understood soft lighting here and how beautiful that is, probably natural light. Because I'm looking at like the shape of the light here. Looks like it's coming through like a doorway or something. This is probably, taken either indoors but near a door or something, just based on the light. That's just a very, very sweet shot.
Right, so try and recreate that with your artificial light.
Yeah, that nice softness and beautifulness and the nice soft shadows and stuff. Okay.
As well as what you've got going on compositionally there. It's so much stronger than everything else.
It's like a different photographer took it. All right, let's take a look at these. Oh my gosh, you're gonna start off with a crooked horizon line, really? Like, seriously, that's, what's right past white vignette on the borders? You might as well just go, let's just do it. You've sent in a crooked photo. Let's just go ahead and wait, where do you find
straighten it out.
I don't even know where to find the white vignette.
Oh no.
I'm having to force it because I don't know really how to make it. That's how much, just go all the way with it. If you're going to send it in, seriously, it's crooked. It's crooked. Yikes. All right.
Wow. I think that this is a perfect opportunity to compare and contrast. Like if you look at the other successful landscape images that we looked at from some other photographers who were focusing on landscape, I think you can see there's a clear difference between the level of thought and composition and post-processing and quality of the images compared to these. So I would, look for more of that type of polish and thought in your work. These don't seem like that.
Yeah. These have a very snapshotty quality to them. This looks like the first day I ever tried a long exposure while cars were going by. This isn't pretty. Ugly dead trees.
Right. Not focus is not even sharp. It looks sort of
it's not
soft.
in focus, and there's a lot of noise. There's noise here to beat the band. So I can forgive the noise. It's the other stuff they're just, what it is, with the exception of this one that you sent in crooked. And the problem here is there's not a lot of foreground. Like something in the foreground, this is, I guess, can kind of act as foreground. It's just, you're standing up.
Right.
You should have been down low. That would have helped a lot. You certainly should have straightened your horizon line, but there's other issues just overall. That's just an absolute straight up out of my phone snapshot.
Have you ever heard Matthew Jordan Smith talk about the hero in your photograph? You have to have a hero. You have to have something to hang on to. And there's nothing to hang on to in these. It's sort of everywhere and nowhere. And you talk about noise. Well, to me, there's a lot of visual noise also.
These are the Northern Lights? All right. So I think what you're doing is you're going, wow, there's the Northern Lights. Those are amazing. And you're ignoring all this stuff. But we see it all. We see ugly trees, we see ugly ground, we see ugly everything. You're just going, just look up there. It's so cool. I've never seen that before. I'm sorry. This is So you know what it is? You just said it. Contrast this with the other landscape stuff we saw earlier.
Right.
And then you need to.
And you can see there's a clear difference.
Yeah, there's a clear difference. Can we find that quick enough to show the clear difference? Well, those are. But I think you're thinking of.
The other.
No. I never remember where
That's it. That's our guy.
Oops. All right. This one?
Sure, why not? Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Now, you can't. There's no arguing. There's no getting around the fact that it's such a complete difference.
Yeah, and I was thinking of the one with the Northern Lights is the one I was thinking of, which was you had a guy back here who had the cabin, or look at this stuff, like any of these.
Right.
You know, you're talking a whole different level. This is where you need to be shooting. Like, I need to get to this. Like, because you know what? The sky looks great. Then there's the stars, and the foreground looks great.
Right.
If you take the amazing stars out of there, take the Milky Way or whatever it is out of there, it's still a good shot.
And that's just a combination of technique and thought. Thinking about what you're doing.
It's clean and nice, and there's a reflection. It's like all good. Like this is, and when you look at this stuff, all right, and you're thinking about this, all right, and granted, it's a great location. You go, well, I didn't get to shoot in that location. They did, and they took the initiative. Part of being a photographer and taking shots like this is going to places like that.
Right.
And you'll spend a ton of money on your lens, but then you won't invest in yourself. You won't go, well, I want to make really great images. I think my shortcut is to buy a really expensive lens.
Right.
No, get on a plane and go to Iceland. Right. I guarantee you can get round trip airfare to Iceland cheaper than you can buy probably one of the lenses that you already own.
That's a good point.
Because I've done it. I went on Icelandic Air, right, and flew a charter plane. It was rough. It was brutal, but there are inexpensive flights. Now, you're probably not going to go at the ideal time of year for the inexpensive flights, but it's like that's part of it. If you want to be a really good landscape photographer, you can't go shoot in your hometown and go, well, it's all I get to shoot is this.
Right. And you have to wait and wait and wait and wait for just the right moment.
Yeah, and you might have to get up and go to the same place 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So, all right, next. Where are we at? Oh, let's take a break.
Break.
Oh. We have to say like, oh. Let's take a break. This is the other book we're giving away right here when we come back.
Awesome book.
You're very kind. Professional Portrait Retouching Techniques for Photographers. So this is not a book for retouchers. It's a book for photographers that retouch their own stuff, which is like many of us. So I will be back, and my guest will be back, and we'll all be back, as will a few more images when we return from this break. Don't go away.
Hey guys, I'm Michael Corsentino. I'm really excited about my brand new class on how to use the Canon 600EX RT and its companion trigger. This class is designed to get you up to speed using flashes, modifying your light, and molding and shaping your light with various accessories. We'll talk about radio versus optical, masters and slaves, groups, and high-speed sync. So I hope you come check out my brand new class only on kelby1.com.
Hi everybody, Scott Kelby here. Are you on Instagram and do you want to grow your audience? Of course you do. Everybody's on Instagram today. Well, I was on Instagram, but I was going nowhere. And you know what? I put together a strategy through a lot of research, through a lot of checking things out and making some smart decisions, and my Instagram's exploding. I'm adding between 1,500 and 2,000 people a week, and you can do the exact same thing, and I show you how in my brand new class, How to Build Your Instagram Audience on Kelby One.
Create your own space at squarespace.com.
Hey, we're back. That was Squarespace, one of our sponsors that was like, had that ad there. My portfolio is on Squarespace. If you go to scottkelby.com and click up on portfolio, I've got my football one there, and I've got the the regular one there. And so, you know what I like about Squarespace? Like, they have great templates. You just go and say, this is the one I want. I think you can start at $8 a month.
Wow.
It's pretty cheap. And their stuff is awesome. It's really very, very easy to use, which is what I love.
Easy is good.
All right,
yeah.
we are back with you live. We're giving away 4 books now today. 4 books, count them 4. Let's take a look at the next photographer here before we give away some books. So we're going to go through them real quickly. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not. So these are actually. So this is a good photographer, I think. And because I mean, like, the poses are good. Like, you're not shooting down on her, right? You're down where she is, right? So that's pretty good.
Right.
And that's kind of a nice shot. I'm sure the subjects like these. It's a little flashy, a little
overly lit.
overlit
Yeah,
there.
I noticed some of the other ones were a little overly
Overlit.
lit.
Yeah, and that's
This
been a
one,
common problem
overlit.
today.
Right.
Did you notice how many people have just their flashes are simply too bright?
Right.
Now I'm not speaking for you, but like right now I'm on tour. Hey, I'm going to New York on March 3rd. Come see me. Anyway, I'm on tour with my new tour, and in it I use 3 flashes on stage, and my flash when I'm shooting a portrait, we have a live model on stage. When I shoot my first portrait, I'm at f5.6, and the power of my flash. Now my flash is inside a 50-inch softbox. The power of my flash is 1/16.
Right.
1/16. These look like half the full.
Right.
Not necessarily. This one is not the most egregious, but they are kind of all overlit.
Right.
But like from a posing standpoint and the background being out of focus and things like that, I think this is like not bad, but
Right.
you could make this better with a couple little things.
A little goes a long way when it comes to light. And here's the other thing. While I'm not a huge fan of always shooting wide open, I think that these could benefit from just a tad more blurring to the background.
Yeah,
a
they
little
could.
more separation.
Yeah. So these look like a background of f5.6, or you're shooting kind of wide angle and you're at 2.8 and it doesn't matter because you're at wide angle. But I think these look more like a 70 millimeter, like you're standing back and you're shooting maybe a 70. I don't think it's a 50. You're right. You know, you make those backgrounds a little more out of focus.
Right.
Which that requires 2 things. You have to zoom in. So walk backwards 10 feet and zoom in. Because it's not just f-stop that creates the background out of focus. It is f-stop plus zooming in. Because you can shoot a wide-angle lens, a 14 millimeter at f1.2. That background's all going to be in focus.
Right.
So it's back up.
Also, compositionally, I think these could be stronger. This one in particular, because this one is here. Like, for example, what's going on the left side of the screen, the fact that there's this sliver behind the tree.
Right over here?
Yeah, it's very distracting. Like, just tuck her more into the corner. Get rid of that.
So something like, whoa, what happened to my crop there? So, yeah, just get rid of the whole big tree. You don't even
Right,
need the whole
exactly.
big tree. Yeah, that's much better. Well, good call.
Right away. Boom. Done.
You know what else? She's like, you can make her a little warmer while you're there. People look better warmer. And so make her a little bit warmer, I think. I'm looking on my screen, it looks pretty good. On the screen in the studio is always funky, so I can't tell you.
And also from her expression, it's sort of questioning, like, what are you doing? It looks as though you've sort of caught her by surprise, and you're not really supposed to be there or something.
You know what, though? That one doesn't bother me as much as
Right.
this one and this one.
Right.
The poses are not flattering. Can I tell you what? Models always want to put their hand in their hair
Right, yeah.
because they don't know what to do with their hands.
It's a white vignette. It's a white vignette situation.
It's
Yeah.
the white vignette. It's not a good thing. And you do have her backlit with the sun, which is right. That's good. You're getting a second light from her, getting kicker light, but then she's covering it with her hands. Just you could work a little on the. You know what else too? I think you're shooting from too low an angle. I think you need to be at least at her eye level, but ideally a little bit higher.
Right.
I think that would help and make it a little more flattering.
And one other thing I'm seeing overall, and we've talked about having a connection with the subject,
Yeah,
but
there's
also
nothing going on there.
there's also nothing wrong with having non-camera aware pictures also, if they work, where the subject is not looking at the camera.
These are all
and
looking
they're
at the
all looking
camera.
at the camera. They're all super aware, and super aware, camera-aware pictures can approach snapshotty if you're not careful.
I think this is the best shot of the bunch. She's got a very nice pose, and the lighting is the best of them. And the fact that her boots with the jeans, the boots with the fur, no, the boots with the jeans look good. Yeah, there's nice contrast there. That's better with the crop that we talked about. This one is too tight. Then the lighting's way too much. Like the lighting in her
Right,
face is
right.
way overdone.
I do like the fact that there are accent lights, that there are kicker lights going on a lot of these. I think that's a nice touch.
I'm wondering if we pull back the exposure a little bit, that helps
Tones
a
it
little.
down, yeah.
Yeah, that tone. So let's take a look at the difference here. It's just a little too much in the face there. It's just, But the whole thing's a little too tight compositionally.
And the light, again, for my tastes, is
Yeah.
way too frontal, way too,
Yeah. Let's get through a couple more, but really, you don't have that much to work on. You're in the ballpark. Susby asked a question there, Michael.
Okay, sure.
Your new class, is it for Canon, or will I learn how to use my Yongnuo flash from it as well?
Well, here's the thing. Light is light, right?
Light is light.
So you will learn things in the class that will help you with your flash, but it is specific to the Canon 600 XRT walking through. But there's a whole section on the 4 principles of light, and I break down, because like I said, light can be really intimidating for people. So I try to really simplify it and talk about the concepts that make up light and how you should be thinking about it, so that it's a lot more digestible and easy to understand. So I would still recommend it even with the Yongnuo flash.
Well, here's the cool thing, Susby. If you're a Kelby member, you already know this, Kelby One member. But when you go to a class, we break them into little segments. They're like 5 or 6 minute segments. We tell you what they are. So when you see the segment called "Configuring Your 600 RT," skip that one. When it says "Making Your Light Beautiful," watch that one.
Right,
So skip the
right.
ones that are flash specific and just jump to the parts that you want. This next person, their stuff's it's interesting. I'm not sure what to say about it. It looks to me like it was shot on the set of a movie, which is a compliment, or maybe not. I don't know. Take a look. Except for that one.
Yeah, I don't care for that one.
Yeah, you can just get rid of
That
that one
one's like
altogether. But this kind of looks like very, fashiony,
Yep.
and this one looks like kind of, I like the light.
They've got an editorial feeling
The
to
other
them.
photographer back there is not helping this shot, can I tell you?
Right.
Guy with camera, not helping shot. Not helping shot. Now, is it that somebody else was shooting celebrities on the street or fashion models and you kind of walked upon it? I don't know. But it's got that kind of feel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting.
They have kind of an editorial fashion
Yeah.
sense to them, which I like.
Yeah.
I would say I'd recommend looking at some of the fashion campaigns, lookbooks and things like that, if this is your direction. There's a lot of cool urban kind of inspired photography that's done, without mentioning specific brands, but definitely do some Google searches.
Well, you know where else you can go? Go to Jedroot, Jedroot. They're an agency in New York City where fashion happens, and they have a lot of great fashion photographers. Like they may have 20 or 30 that work under their agency, and you'll see some really nice, really good stuff. Right. So go check out that site. All right, we just got a couple more. We're gonna rip through them real quick here and see what we have. Man, if I hire you, I don't know who's showing up.
Right.
You're just all over the place. Now, this is a cute shot of a baby. Unfortunately, this is way too bright.
Yeah.
And so that's
The whole thing is
yeah.
really bright.
Well, but it's okay for it if it's high key, I think. But I agree, it is too bright. But I'm gonna just take down the highlights a little here. Now, I don't want it to make it look gray, so I'm gonna fix it. Just give me a second. But you should not. You should look at the baby. You shouldn't be looking over here.
Contrast is really flat too.
Yeah, we'll fix that over here. A little contrast wouldn't hurt. And so, I mean, that's just a 5-second fix.
A little
but
warmth.
Oh, we need the whole thing. Here we go. So we were losing detail in that, and you're not looking at the baby. You got to look at the baby. And I would probably even maybe just go in with just point half a point and make sure the baby stands out. I'm a baby. It's a cute baby. I want to see some detail in that hair, though. Hold on, let me bring some shadows out in the hair. It's a cute. That's too much. It's a cute baby. All right, so cute baby. We got down. Lion is. I love how close it is, and that's interesting. That's a very interesting shot. Looks like it was probably shot at a zoo because that looks like just grass. Oh, that's the reflection of the photographer in the car door window. The problem is the same. Even though it's not another photographer, you still are seeing the photographer in the car door window. You shouldn't see the photographer in the shot. So.
Easy enough to retouch out.
Yeah, well, yeah. In that case, you probably could retouch it. You're right. This is what I think when you're trying to make a shot. You're like, I want you to stand there, and when the water comes crashing over, you only get to do this shot once, right?
That's for sure.
It's an interesting concept.
But again, this shot looks like it's been taken by someone standing with the camera at eye level.
Yeah.
And that's what
with a
kind
lot
of
of
kills
light.
it. Right. There's no drama to it. It's not shot with a heroic viewpoint, stand low, and then the water is crashing up around the subject. That would be really.
Yeah, this could have been really good. So you have a good concept. The execution was a little funky, and this is just nothing.
Yeah, that's Snapshotville.
Yeah, that's like, it looks like you put that painty effect on everything. Because if you zoom in, I think you'll see that they put the painty effect on it.
Right.
Now, that's either the one in Photoshop or like Topaz makes a really good painty thing.
That's tricky for me because that, to me, becomes photo illustration, not photography.
I'm not sure that's... we got some work to do here. You got some good stuff, and you got some stuff that needs some work. But, all right. Now, this stuff looks pretty cool. I like this stuff.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
It's a good photographer. Now, of course, they have access to some really cool stuff. It looks like a Royal Navy helicopter. This is some really cool stuff, I will say. You know what it is? You use some kind of a preset, and it's the same preset on all of them, which is good because it creates like the series consistency in a series. But it's a very washed out. Like I'm going to raise the contrast here. Or we can just either add some blacks to it.
Right.
That becomes a really amazing portrait. It looks really flat like this, really flat. So good photography, not my favorite post-processing.
Right, agreed.
I like the consistency. That was the word too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice sort of set of reportage kind of images.
That's nice. See that adding those blacks in there, look how flat it was.
Big difference.
Flat.
They hang together nicely, all these images. They're a nice set.
You know what? This is my favorite. I really like this one.
Yeah.
That's got something to it. It looks a little crooked, but outside of that, like the cockpit looks slightly tilted to the left. That's an interesting vantage point.
I think one other thing is these images work well together as a set. They hang together as a set individually. Perhaps they're not as strong, but also as a set, they work really well together.
They do hang together well as a set. I put a little post-processing juice in there, and also I would go in here and just bring that out a little bit.
Open up some of the shadows.
I maybe went too far, but let's look at just. I think you could post-process this into a really nice. It's already nice, and it's like you can't post-process an awful image and make it good, but you can make a good image better.
But that's strong work.
Yeah, that was real strong, very strong. Well done. Let's see what we got here. I love you. No, I love you. Let's kiss. Let's have a smushy, awkward kiss. Let's cut his eye right in the middle.
It's funny though because that image, the cut off eye image, is the strongest image to me of the entire set.
That's the sad thing.
Right. In terms of the
realized
aperture used, the composition, the color, the intimate moment. Right. That is that's what you should be doing. The other ones are all off for me.
Yeah.
In numerous ways.
This looks like somebody at the wedding took it.
Right.
Somebody at the wedding took it.
This one is a close second. It's a second, but it's not.
Somebody at the wedding took it and applied a bad filter. That's got the bad filter, like I don't have any contrast look.
Right.
So, somebody at the wedding took it. The photographer took this one.
Right.
So you're capable of making a really good image. Now, I would say you have some Photoshop work to do. There's no reason to have this person's head growing out of her head. You got to get rid of that. It's just too easy to fix. The other thing that's really messing me up is this. Now, normally you wouldn't see it on a black background like we are, so it wouldn't be probably as bad if we could see that on a, let's look at here where it's not on a black background. Yeah, it's not as bad. That's got to go though. There's no reason to leave that in there. And if you could have got a little better framing here,
Right.
you would have had something really. She's got such a nice pose on it. There's a little sense of motion. There's a lot of good things going on there, but cutting his eye off is
It's a big no-no.
that hurts. And the last one for today. Can we make the other one the last one from today? No. So this shot shows some promise.
Yeah.
If you'd have gotten down lower, this would be a much more dramatic shot. You're not way up, but you're also not down low. Like this, maybe you set your tripod low, but if you'd have got on the rocks and got your tripod really low, like an inch off the rocks, this could have been a really interesting shot. It's a good shot. That's the best of the bunch.
Also, perhaps a longer shutter speed.
Yeah, to get the water
Get that
misty.
water all misty. What is that? The big stopper filter.
Yeah, put it like a 10D,
Right.
a 10 stop.
And maybe a grad ND filter for the sky.
Yeah,
They-
we can fix.
They make
that.
some of those with colors also.
Yeah,
that-
we can do that right now. And I can add colors. What color would you like?
Let's warm it up a little bit, maybe. That afternoon.
And let's add a little pink there.
Yeah,
too.
there you go.
And pull back some highlights. Oops, I don't want to pull back too far because I think it's kind of crazy. But yeah, there's some things that you could do. Let's just look at just that sky. I don't think I did very much for that sky. I would have to work on that. But you're getting there with this shot. This one's kind of a nothing shot. It looks like a snapshot. That's like, I have a DSLR and oh, look, there's a guy. This one I like that you got down low and you went real wide. I kind of like that. It's just not the most interesting shot.
Yeah, that tree could have been tucked more into the corner. You have a nice sort of anchor point compositionally, but I don't like where it's placed. This is
It's a tilt shift effect, little tiny town. And you know what it looks like? A tiny town. It's not bad. It's really hard to judge a tiny town shot because the only way you can judge it is, does it look like a tiny town?
Right.
Yeah.
Then I guess
does.
it's working.
It's working. It's a tiny town. I think you're onto something here.
Yeah, agreed.
I agree with your 10 stop, big stopper or something to get this water nice. Now you're going to need a 10 stop because that water's it's not moving enough in here. You'd have to be there. This is like an 8-minute exposure, a 12-minute exposure.
Right.
You're going to need to be there long enough for a 10 stopper to do its stuff. But you looks like you were on a tripod, and so you're halfway there. Well, my friends, I hope that was of some help. We have books to give away.
Yay.
Yay! You know what? We've never gotten through all like that many. We usually do 15. We did 18 today.
We're rock stars.
Well, you know what it was? We didn't spend too long on the first one. When you get hung on the first one, it kills everything else. We're giving away 4 books today. Here's where you're going to go. Go to kelby1.com/webcast-contest. Okay, kelby1.com/webcast-contest. There's a submission form. Say, we're watching the grid. Give us your name, your email address. It's important right here, not there. Go up higher. Comments. It's very important there you tell us which book you want to win so we know which one you want. The 4 books are retouching book. That's 1. Compositing book. That's 2. Best of digital photography book. That's 3. And Jay Mazel's amazing light, gesture, and color. It's light, it's gesture, it's all the things you want and more. So, my friends, that wraps up today's. Michael, where can they learn more about you?
They can follow me on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram.
You are very active. I follow you on Instagram. You're
you,
very
thank you,
active.
sir.
He's very active.
At Corsentino is my Instagram, and of course my website, which is michaelcorsentino.com.
Can we scroll along? Let's see a little bit. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Hey, nice light.
Thank you.
Hey, can we look at some of your shots? Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Just go into portfolio,
Yeah.
and that'll bring up. This is a brand new website, so I'm still populating it.
Oh, sure. If you get the Brooklyn Bridge in the background, that's nicely done. See, you know what's nice about, can we stop right there for a second? We can't, can we? You know what's nice about that is, number one, it's not, we've been looking at overlit photos all day long. It's nice to see. It's the drama of the light.
Right.
The light is soft, but it's not too soft, and it's dramatic, and there's lots of depth, and there's lots of dimension, and that's a really nice shot.
And that's just one light. That's all you need so many times. One light can do just so much for you.
I use one light most of the time. I'm a one light guy.
Yeah.
I have 2 lights. I have 3 lights. I'm mostly one light. Well, thank you very much for joining us
My
today.
pleasure. Always a pleasure to be
Absolutely.
here.
And
Yeah.
thank you guys
That
for
was great.
submitting images. Thanks to Squarespace, our sponsor, and all of our sponsors who are incredibly awesome. Next week, I'm on the road, I think. So I'll be in New York City.
My hometown.
Holy cow. You know, my family's originally from New York.
Really?
My mom and dad met in the Astoria pool.
Not for nothing.
My mom was a hostess at Schrapp's.
Really?
And my dad was a elevator operator at the Hotel San Moritz on Central Park.
Okay.
The San Moritz is still there, but now it's like condos. So can I tell you a story? Can I tell you a story? Dun, 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 about a man I once knew. No. So my dad has since passed away, but before my dad did pass away, we took him to New York, and we went to where he met my mom. We went to the Astoria pool, and we took a videotape, and we taped his story of how they met. We went to the house where he and mom got married and lived, where my older brother came to be. And we went to the Hotel San Moritz, and he started talking to the bellman, and they took my dad down, because my dad was that kind of guy where you met him, you just fell in love with him. He was just the greatest guy. And they took him downstairs, and they went and they found the old bellman units, and they gave him one. They actually gave him one of the bellboy.
Wow.
He was an elevator operator and a bellboy, and they gave him one of the outfits.
uniforms,
They found one that fit him perfectly, and it was from 50 years ago or whatever. And it was so cool. It was such an amazing weekend, just going and seeing all these places we heard about. Of course, he was very sad that the best delicatessen ever made in the history of New York, Phil's Delicatessen in Astoria, is long gone. But it was, anyway. It has nothing to do with anything. I'm sorry, we're just over now. It doesn't matter. But so that's New York. And I'll be there on March 3rd. Hey, who's got a contact at the New York Public Library?
I have a library card. Does that count?
Doesn't count at all. I want to get in there and do it. I'm working on a book called The Great Indoors, and I'm trying to get in there. So if you know someone who works at the New York Public Library, which is a beautiful building, or I think it's the University Club, either one of those two, hit me up on Twitter. Well, my friends, it's time to go for this week. We'll be back next week for another exciting episode of The Grid. Until then, I don't know what to say till then.
This has been Scott Kelby.
This has been Scott Kilby and
Michael Corsentino.
we'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
I don't know what to say now. You got this right.